Welcome back, guys, for another Gamebug review. This time I'll be reviewing Devil May Cry 5. Now, let's just jump straight into it. I will put a little PSA out there. The Devil May Cry series is probably one of my favorite video game series. Now, I will try not to be as biased as possible, but let's be honest, it's my review and I love these games, so let's jump right in. So, concept. Okay, if you've never played a Devil May Cry game before, it's about demons and humans and half-demons and a war between the underworld and obviously the earth. And the original game starred Dante, who was the son of Sparta, who was half-demon, half-human, and he took on basically the devil or some form of king demon thing, and he saved the world, blah blah blah. No one else gave a shit because no one else knew what was going on, but he saved the world anyway. So obviously this is the 5th entry into the series, so if you haven't played any of the previous games, you might not know sort of what's going on, and it might be a bit cumbersome, but I think it does a really good job just starting out being all crazy and sort of hitting a high point and then taking a step back as to how everything came to be. So you sort of uncover that as you go through. So I feel like even if you've never played them before, you will get some sort of understanding. However, if you have played the previous entries, you'll know more about the characters and the lore and all that sort of stuff. Overall, I think the story is really engaging, and you've got the new mysterious character named V. So that adds a new twist, even for people who've been playing the games before. Like myself, you still don't know who that is, and you uncover everything as you go through. And it is still very gritty and can be quite serious at times, but it also still has that quirky charm, that that little bit of comedic factor, which has always been in the games, which is nice. So graphically, I mean, probably Capcom is on fire. After Resident Evil Remake 2, I thought I'd seen the best graphics I've seen. I still think that might be slightly better in terms of visuals, but I feel like the lighting and the character animation in Devil May Cry, and I feel like the HDR use is a lot better. So again, the character models, the enemies, they're just amazingly rendered and detailed, and just a lot of cool creative designs for some of these characters. The animations just beautiful, like everything just runs smooth, everything looks smooth. Details in the textures, and as I said, the lighting, just everything just looks amazing. The only thing I will say though is the voiceover doesn't really match up at times with the mouth movement, so that can be a bit jarring, but it's just a small gripe, but it still needs to be said anyway. Now, it does still retain that sort of gothic-y cityscape environments mixed with the more hellish landscapes, so very, very fitting for the series. It very much feels like the games of old in terms of setting and all that sort of stuff. Let's move on to the gameplay. So the gameplay is fast, frantic, insane 60 frames a second action. I haven't noticed any stutters or hiccups, and I'm playing, essentially a release that is not even, it doesn't have a day one patch yet, and it just runs flawlessly. I haven't had any lockups, haven't had any crazy screen tearing or anything like that. It just runs fantastic. I mean, the gameplay is still, you've got the guns or the shotgun, depending on the character you're using, in one hand, and then you've got the sword in the other hand, so it's a cross between hacking and slashing and shooting characters up, and the whole point of it is to try and get a really good rating. So you go from obviously D, and you can go up to a triple S with super stylish sexiness. I don't know, I can't remember what the triple S stands for, but the higher the rating, that's basically if you sort of mix up what you're doing, mix up the attacks, you get higher ratings. And if you're juggling opponents and you avoid getting hit, that'll provide you with more red orbs, which are then used to purchase upgrades. And there's plenty of upgrades for each character that you get to use. Using V was really cool. I didn't know how to feel about it at first because you're not directly attacking. You're using his panther or leopard or whatever you want to call it. I think it's a panther. And this crow creature that's his frenemy, or he basically just treats it like crap, let's be honest. It's kind of like Iago from Aladdin. And yeah, so you use the bird basically as your gun, and the panther as basically your slashing attacks. So you sort of have to keep a distance so you don't get hit. And when they've weakened the enemies enough using those two from a distance, then you go in and you do the final blow to kill the character, or the enemy. So it's kind of changed it up a little bit, and I didn't like it at first, but in some of the levels you get the option to choose if you want to use Nero or if you want to use V, and I found myself picking V because it's really fun to mix up combos with him. There's a lot of cool special moves. His devil trigger's pretty cool. Summons this giant, like, ogre giant thing. I don't even know what you call it. So yeah, I think the game feels exactly like the previous ones, which is amazing because the Devil May Cry 1 and 3 in particular are just fantastic games. And I just think this really feels like the games of old, but, you know, it puts it to a new level, especially having Nero with his different arms and having V as a different character with a different style. It really freshens it up. So moving on to sound, fantastic music when you're playing. When you're playing in sort of just an overworld, running around, going through the environments, you've got that atmospheric, moody, creepy, ambient music playing in the background there. But then as soon as you get into battle, it's just this like really heavy, like industrial metal, you know, grungy vibe. And that's just blasting away with, you know, real dirty electric guitars while you're slashing through enemies, and it just makes you feel badass. Well, the sound effects, in particular, Nero's shotgun is the best shotgun sound I've ever seen, or heard, sorry, can't see it. It just has this really guttural, like, blast, like this really, like, it makes you feel like when you shoot that shotgun, like, it's gonna do a hell of a lot of damage. Like, it's funny how sound effects can make the game feel better when it's only sound itself, but trust me on this one, when you hear the sound of that gun go off and it's just this loud boom, and it's just fantastic. So the sound effects all round are awesome because you've got these cool sound effects, obviously, for the weapons and stuff like that, but you've also got all the old school sounds like the menu noises and starting up the game and end of the level. Like it's all from the old previous games. So you get that nostalgia hit for that, which is awesome. The voice acting is actually really good as well. You know, the cheesy parts are not overly done. Like they're very sparing, like in terms of they're not too cringeworthy. It's just the right amount of cheese and the right amount of serious tone there to sort of balance it out. So it's really well done. Let's move on to the last section, the awesomeness section. Now, there's quite a bit of replay value in this because there's a couple of missions that let you choose between Nero and V if you want to sort of tackle it from one perspective or the other. So that's kind of cool having that variation, and two, you know, quite different gameplay styles. Not too overly different, but enough to make you want to try both, which I really dug. There's also a lot of cool hidden missions to find. Now, the hidden missions, the way they are is you will see basically like a demonic sort of painting on the wall, and once you look at that from the right angle, you unlock a special mission. Now, sometimes part of the painting is on one wall, another part is on another wall, another part is on a bit of the floor, and you just have to get the right angle to view it to unlock it. So unlocking those is just another cool bonus to have, just to fully upgrade your character. And I just love that even though this game it knows where it's coming from, let's say. It knows its history. It feels like the first one. It sounds like the first one, but it's fresh enough with the new mechanics and the new characters and sort of the new storyline. It keeps it fresh, but it takes all the amazing parts of what made Devil May Cry amazing, and it sets a new benchmark for visuals. The visuals are fan-friggin-tastic. So overall, I could not be happier with this. It's the Devil May Cry I've been waiting for since the third one. DMC was great, but that wasn't really, you know, a mainline entry. And Devil May Cry 4 was a bit of a hit and miss for me. I didn't dig it as much as I did the first and the third one. Number 2 was a bit of a hit and miss as well. But it seems to be going 1, 3, 5 in terms of great ones, kind of like Assassin's Creed does with 2, 4, and 6 and all that being good. Now, I will say that, yeah, if you've never played this game, definitely jump into it. If you want to sort of get that history for it, go back and play the trilogy. You can get that on PS4 and on Xbox. I was playing this on the Xbox One X. Beautiful 4K graphics, and I'm not sure exactly the resolution it was running at, but it looked crisp, it looked fantastic, and the HDR lighting effects were just stunning. So let's go into the score. So concept, going to give it 4.5 out of 5. Graphics, we're going to go 5 out of 5. Gameplay, we're going to go 5 out of 5. Sound, we're going to go 5 out of 5. And awesomeness, 4.5 out of 5. So a very high score. I did drop a little bit off concept and a little bit off awesomeness. Just for concept, might be a bit too confusing what's going on for some new players, but I feel like it's got the perfect amount of you know, leading you along the story. And I think the awesomeness, you know, it might not be enough to sort of keep people coming back and trying to beat their high scores and all that sort of stuff. But I think what's on offer is plenty there. So definitely check this game out. It's a fantastic game. Go play all the other ones as well. Play it on PlayStation, play it on Xbox, play it anywhere you can. Devil May Cry 5, awesome game. Alright, thanks guys. Be sure to check out us on www.gamebug.com.au, www.youtube.com/GamebugAU. We've also got our Instagram, GamebugAU, as well on there. And you got us on Facebook, GamebugAU, as well on there too. So be sure to like, subscribe, follow, do all that jazz. And yeah, see you guys later. Bye.